Craig, is there anything else going on worldwide that we should be aware of? I know in the past we've talked about, how Ukraine has been, that conflict there has certainly impacted us as well. But just anything else we need to keep our radar on as Americans, what's going on in the world that could affect our ag culture?
Well, I think just from a pure interesting watching a slow motion car crash, I think what's going on in China is pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
Last week, or I guess maybe earlier this week, China's National Bureau of Statistics reported they actually had a drop in the population, about 850,000 less Chinese now than there were a year ago.
Yeah.
That hadn't happened since 1961 when they had the Great Famine. What we're seeing there is the impact of 40 years of one child programming. I mean, they've aborted hundreds of millions of babies have been killed there. And as the listeners probably know, you need about a 2.1 fertility rate to maintain a stable population. You got the two children replace the two parents, and then that 0.1 usually accounts for deaths during infancy or childhood or something like that. Well, when you reduce that down to a 1, you quickly start to decimate your future population growth. And then the other thing we've seen there is the sex selection, because you're only allowed one. Most of them wanted a boy. Yeah. And so you've got the point now where if you look at the 20 to 24-year-old age group, for example, in China, there's about 113.6 men for every 100 women. And again, that doesn't bode well if you're trying to rebuild the population. So it appears as if they're past the tipping point. I really don't think there's any coming back for them. Right now, I think there's 1.4 billion people in China. According to some analysts that I've read, by the year 2100, they think that could be under 500 million.
Wow.
And why that's important to us is that China, of course, is the number one importer of agricultural products. And so obviously the year 2100 is nothing that is going to impact me personally, because I'll be long gone by then. But as you look at transit, assuming that God hasn't returned by then, it's pretty interesting what's going on. And again, I think a reflection on what happens when you try and play God and limit your population. It's not going to end well.